National Nurses Week is underway. It runs May 6th through May 12th. And my guest this morning here on Jersey Magazine is Angela Manning. Angela is a labor and delivery nurse at St. Clare's Health. Angela, first of all, good morning and welcome to Jersey
Good
Magazine.
morning. Thank you for inviting me.
Give me a little bit of your background. What was it that led you into nursing?
So, I think I was probably about 8 years old when I wanted to become a nurse, and my family thought you'll never do it. They just thought I was too young and didn't know, but it was something I had just always wanted to do, and I set out and reached my goal.
How did you go about doing that? I mean, was there something maybe you watched on television that led you to this, a
I think
program or something?
probably watching my mom. She was a very caring person. She took care of my grandmother when she was ill, and I remember sleeping at my grandmother's house and helping my mom as a child. And then my brother was sick at a young age, and I remember her always taking care of people. As a child, my mom was one of eight, and when each of my aunts were a little ill, it was just part of my routine that I would go along with her and help any of our family members that were sick.
When you finally reached your goal of becoming a nurse, what did that feel like?
It was wonderful. And I've been doing it for 40 years, and it was the best choice I ever made.
The theme for 2025 is the power of nurses. And as your career has gone on, what's your power?
Well, being a labor and delivery nurse, my power is bringing beautiful babies into the world.
And that's, the miracle of life, if you will. That's
It
incredible.
definitely is.
I don't know if there's such a thing as a typical day, especially in labor and delivery, but if you had to say, this is a typical day for me, what would that be?
So, a typical day, a patient will come in whether to be induced in labor or to have a scheduled C-section. And of course, they're very anxious. We try to calm them down, and we get our goal to have a beautiful baby by the end of my shift, hopefully.
Amazing. Amazing. What's the most challenging part of your job?
I think mostly patients are very scared, and their spouse, along with it, are very scared. So you want to just really try to calm them down. You want to try to let them have the kind of birth experience that they want to have. A lot of patients come in with birth plans, and we try to follow along as best as we can, knowing that they're in a hospital setting, so that we follow our protocols for having a hospital delivery.
We're 5 years, of course, removed from the darkest days of COVID. How much did that change what you do?
It was a very challenging time for everybody, COVID. When we had COVID, we had to have the patients stay in the room, the babies were in the room, no visitors. So now it's wonderful. We still have stricter rules where you can't have as many visitors, but it's great to have families back with their newborns, and the grandparents can come in.
Yeah, I had interviewed some nurses in the past, and they were talking, in past years about some of what was going on through COVID, and that whole thing was just incredible. Almost hard to describe, I would think. And
It
I'm not sure
really
from a
was.
labor and delivery, but certainly the emergency room, I know was just overwhelming at times.
It was challenging, I think, for everybody.
If you were going to counsel someone who said, "I think I want to get into nursing," what would you say to them?
Definitely do it. There's just so many different roads that you can go with nursing. I've been in labor and delivery for about 37 years now. I've also worked in I still currently work in a surgical center. I've worked for different doctors, and each role that you play is very rewarding.
There are a number of major hospitals in the WDHA listening area, and for one reason or another, I've had contact with pretty much all of them. What is it about St. Clair's that makes it different? Because there is a difference there.
It's more family centered. We are a smaller hospital, but you get more individualized care. Most days I have a one-on-one, meaning I'm the one nurse to a one patient, so I can give undivided attention to them. And just being here for 40 years at the hospital, I've made such great friends, and they're really, most of them are more like my family. We've been through great happy times and sad times together, and we're still all like family.
National Nurses Week, May 6th through May 12th. Angela Manning, labor and delivery nurse at St. Clair's Health. Thank you so much for your time this morning here on Jersey Magazine. I've enjoyed speaking with you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.